Long Island, New York. Summer, 1952. These are men who shovel rotting refuse, who smell of diesel and decay, who ride garbage trucks through Brooklyn alleys. For 1 week each year, the city sends them to Oheka Castle, 127 rooms, 443 acres, the second largest private home ever built in America. Tudor palace, designed by the same architects who created Versailles. Otto Kahn's Revenge Palace, partner of J.P. Morgan, one of the richest men in the world. Jewish banker so powerful, he financed wars and toppled governments. He built Oheka between 1914 and 1919, $30 to $40 million, $700 million today, to spite the country clubs that rejected him for being Jewish. He created his own resort, forced the WASP elite to come to him. Rockefeller slept here. European royalty dined here. Now sanitation workers from the Bronx claim the master suite, the gold leaf ballroom, the French marble pool. Beautiful. Yes, a kingdom carved from rejection and rage, the dream, the throne, eternal. But cursed. Otto dies suddenly. 1934. Heart attack, age 65. Wife Addie cannot afford upkeep, sells 1957. Military school fails. Retreat center fails. Drug rehab fails. 1984 to 94. Abandoned. Burned 5 times. Roof collapses. 1994. Gary Melius buys for $1.5 million. Spends $40 million restoring. Earns $10 million yearly. July 2nd, 2014. Someone shoots him in the head. Castle parking lot. Bullet enters skull above left eye. Exits back of head. He survives. Loses half brain function. Shooter never caught. July 2025. Oheka files Chapter 11 bankruptcy. $63 million debt. Gary Melius, 71, half paralyzed, lost control. This is the dark story of Oheka Castle, a revenge palace that became a curse. Can ambition twisted by rejection poison 5 generations until the stone itself crumbles? If you enjoy deep investigations into cursed Gilded Age architecture and the families destroyed by their own ambition, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Which mansion should we explore next? Your support makes these stories possible. Otto Hermann Kahn was born on the 21st of February 1867 in Mannheim, Germany, into a family of bankers who traced their lineage back to the courts of medieval princes. His father, Bernhard Kahn, was a respected financier who managed investments for German nobility, his office walls lined with letters of credit from dukes and counts. Young Otto grew up surrounded by the trappings of wealth, silver tea services from Vienna, Persian rugs from Constantinople, conversations about bond yields, and currency exchange rates conducted over cigars imported from Havana. But beneath the prosperity lay a constant undercurrent of peril. As Jews in Bismarck's Germany, the Kahns were tolerated but never fully accepted, their invitations to noble balls always carrying an unspoken asterisk. Otto learned early that money bought comfort but never belonging. It bought tables at court but never seats of equality. This lesson, bitter and indelible, would shape the rest of his life. At 17, Otto left Mannheim for London, joining the London branch of Speyer & Co., a German-Jewish banking house with tentacles across Europe. He arrived knowing 3 languages but no English, sleeping in a rented room above a fishmonger, studying ledgers by gaslight until his eyes burned. Within 2 years he spoke flawless English with a slight German accent that never faded. By 21, he was managing international bond issues, negotiating with governments that treated him as an equal despite his youth and faith. In 1893, at 26, he crossed the Atlantic to New York, joining Kuhn, Loeb & Co., the most powerful Jewish investment bank in America. His rise was meteoric. By 1900, he was a partner. By 1907, a senior partner alongside Jacob Schiff, the firm's legendary patriarch. Otto Kahn became J.P. Morgan's most trusted rival and occasional ally, financing railroads that spanned continents, underwriting bonds for Allied governments during World War I, controlling more capital than many nations. At his peak, Kahn's personal fortune exceeded $100 million, $2 billion in today's money. He owned a mansion on Fifth Avenue, a summer cottage in Newport, a palazzo in Venice, a shooting lodge in Scotland. His private rail car, the Oheka Special, shuttled him between properties with liveried servants and stocked cellars. He collected art with the ferocity of a general seizing territory. Rembrandts, Titians, Van Dycks, a Picasso before Picasso was Picasso. His library held 30,000 volumes, many first editions acquired at auctions where lesser men bid timidly. He sat on boards of the Metropolitan Opera, the New York Philharmonic, the Juilliard School. Presidents called for advice. Kings borrowed money. Otto Kahn was untouchable, but the old money families, the Vanderbilts, Astors, Whitneys, looked through him. They attended his dinners because business demanded it, because railroads needed financing and bonds needed underwriting. But at their country clubs, the exclusive enclaves of Southampton and Bar Harbor and Newport, they drew lines. No Jews, the bylaws whispered, though never written. When Kahn applied for membership at the Meadow Brook Club on Long Island, a haven of polo fields and golf courses where Wall Street titans played, his application vanished into silence. When he sought a summer rental at the Bailey's Beach Club in Newport, where society gathered in July, the answer came back, unavailable. The resorts of the North Shore, the elegant estates with private beaches and tennis courts, closed their registries when his name appeared. It was not personal, they explained through intermediaries. It was tradition. It was policy. It was the way things were. Otto Kahn, at 50, the most powerful banker in America, discovered he could buy anything except acceptance. He could finance wars, but not play golf with the men who declared them. He could own Rembrandts, but not memberships at clubs where Rembrandts hung in the dining rooms. The rejection stung deeper because it was so polite, so absolute, so utterly indifferent to his wealth and accomplishments. Most men would have retreated, joined other Jewish bankers at their own clubs, built parallel societies. Kahn did not retreat. He declared war. In 1914, as Europe burned and Wall Street reeled from the outbreak of World War I, Otto Kahn purchased 443 acres on the Gold Coast of Long Island, prime estate land, where lesser millionaires built cottages of 30 rooms. He hired Delano and Aldrich, the architects of Versailles-inspired estates for Rockefeller and Frick, and gave them a single instruction: build the greatest private residence in America. Not a house, not a mansion, a castle. Something so grand that the people who rejected him would have no choice but to come begging. He named it Oheka, combining letters from the names of his children Otto, Helen, and Eva. But the name carried another meaning. Otto H. Kahn Establishment, for the amusement of his friends. It was a taunt wrapped in grandeur. The design was audacious even for the Gilded Age, a Tudor Revival castle dominating the landscape, its half-timbered facade stretching 8 stories at the central tower, wings extending like arms to embrace formal gardens, 127 rooms connected by marble corridors, serviced by 17 elevators disguised as stone columns. The grounds included a 13-acre man-made lake stocked with swans, formal Italian gardens with fountains copied from Rome, Japanese gardens with imported cherry trees, rose gardens boasting 28 varieties, cultivated by specialists from France. Sport facilities rivaled private resorts. 2 tennis courts surfaced with imported clay, a 9-hole golf course designed by a British Open champion, an indoor swimming pool lined with French marble, a bowling alley with lanes of Canadian maple, a skeet shooting range, stables for 30 horses. A 10-acre kitchen garden grew vegetables for the household, tended by French market gardeners who rotated crops seasonally. Inside, the interiors were museums masquerading as living spaces. The grand ballroom seated 500 beneath chandeliers of Bohemian crystal, its ceiling painted with allegories of music and dance commissioned from Parisian muralists. The dining room accommodated 60 at a table of burled walnut, its walls hung with tapestries from the Loire Valley. The library rivaled the Morgan Library, its walls of sycamore lined with 30,000 volumes, many acquired specifically for Oheka. The music room housed a pipe organ with pipes rising 3 stories, its tones filling the castle during concerts by guest artists from La Scala. Every bedroom had its own marble bathroom with fixtures from Paris, silk draperies from Lyon, Persian rugs from Tabriz. The master suite overlooked the lake, its canopied bed carved from a single oak shipped from England. Construction began in 1914 and consumed 5 years and $30 to $40 million, $700 million in today's terms. War shortages drove costs higher. Imported materials arrived on ships dodging U-boats. Italian stonemasons carved limestone gargoyles during air raid drills. French plasterers modeled ceilings while reading casualty lists from the Marne. German carpenters, recent immigrants fleeing conscription, inlaid floors with parquetry patterns that took months to perfect. Otto Kahn visited weekly by private railcar, inspecting progress with the intensity of a general surveying battlefields. He approved every detail: the curve of a banister, the grain of a walnut panel, the angle of a garden path. Money was no object because acceptance was priceless. By 1919, as the war ended and America entered the Roaring Twenties, Oheka Castle stood complete. Otto Kahn had built his fortress, his revenge, his proof of superiority. He issued invitations not to clubs that rejected him, but to the people who ran those clubs. Rockefeller came, sleeping in the Renaissance bedroom, praising the golf course. Frick attended dinner, admiring the wine cellar stocked with pre-phylloxera Bordeaux. European nobility crossed the Atlantic for house parties that lasted weeks. The same society that whispered no Jews now climbed Oheka's marble staircases, drank from its baccarat crystal, danced beneath its frescoed ceilings. Kahn stood at the top of the grand staircase, watching them arrive, a faint smile on his thin lips. He had won. But victory carried invisible costs. The castle required 126 servants, French chef and sous chefs preparing 5-course dinners for 100 guests, 10 gardeners maintaining 443 acres of formal landscape, 5 engineers operating the swimming pool, filtration and bowling alley pin setters, 8 footmen in livery serving meals and drinks, 12 upstairs maids polishing marble and silver daily, stable boys tending horses and polishing carriages. Annual operating costs exceeded $2 million, $40 million today, for coal, electricity, wages, repairs, imported food and wine. Kahn paid without complaint, believing his fortune inexhaustible, his triumph eternal. He hosted endless entertainments. George Gershwin premiered his first piano concerto in the music room. Isadora Duncan danced in the ballroom. Enrico Caruso sang arias after dinner. The castle glowed each weekend with limousines arriving from Manhattan, guests lingering until Monday. Newspapers chronicled the parties, society columns breathless with descriptions of the lake illuminated by Japanese lanterns, fireworks exploding over the rose gardens, orchestras imported from Vienna. Oheka became synonymous with ultimate luxury, the place where social barriers dissolved under the weight of champagne and caviar. Beneath the triumph, the foundation weakened. Kahn's health, never robust, declined under stress. War financing exhausted even his reserves. The castle consumed fortunes yearly. His children, grown and married, showed polite interest, but no passion for the monument to their father's wounded pride. Otto ignored the signs. He was invincible. He had forced the world to bend. What could threaten him now? Death came suddenly on the 29th of March 1934. Otto Kahn, 67, suffered a massive heart attack in his Fifth Avenue library while reviewing bond proposals. He died instantly, surrounded by ledgers that no longer mattered. The man who financed empires could not finance one more heartbeat. Oheka Castle, his immortality, passed to his wife Addie and children, none of whom shared his obsession. The Revenge Palace stood triumphant but hollow, waiting for the next act in its tragedy. The first excavators arrived at the Oheka site in spring 1914, their steam shovels belching black smoke as they tore into the Gold Coast soil of Long Island. Otto Kahn stood at the edge of the 443-acre parcel, arms crossed, watching topsoil peeled away in layers. This was no ordinary foundation digging. Kahn demanded bedrock excavation 20 feet deep, concrete footings reinforced with Bethlehem steel I-beams trucked from Pennsylvania. "If I'm building a castle," he told the engineers, "it must outlast the pharaohs." The pit yawned 1,200 feet long, swallowing dump trucks whole, workers rappelling down sheer walls to place rebar cages. Groundwater pumps ran 24 hours, their diesel roar audible a mile away. By summer, the hole was a small lake ringed with mud foundation for what would become America's second-largest private home. To Americans of staying. The SPACU, Kahn's private rail car, shuttled him from Manhattan weekly. the Oheka Special pulling into a siding built specifically for his visits. He stepped down in a three-piece suit, Homburg hat tilted against the sun, liveried footmen carrying leather cases of blueprints. Delano and Aldrich, the architects behind Rockefeller's Pocantico Hills and Frick's Clayton, presented daily progress. Kahn rejected their first facade sketches as too timid, demanding steeper gables, taller towers, more aggressive half-timbering. "Make it shout wealth," he said. "Make it impossible to ignore." The design evolved into full Tudor Revival white stucco walls framed by dark-stained oak beams, steeply pitched slate roofs, oriel windows projecting like castle turrets, stone gargoyles snarling from cornices. The central tower rose 8 stories, visible from Cold Spring Harbor 5 miles distant. To that Workley Regis in the resting. Stonework began with limestone from Bedford, Indiana, the same quarries supplying the U.S. Capitol. Blocks arrived by barge up the Hudson, then rail to a siding at the site. Italian masons, imported from Carrara, carved decorative elements on site. Corinthian capitals for entrance columns, foliated friezes above windows, heraldic beasts supporting balconies. Each gargoyle took 3 weeks, a snarling lion with ruby glass eyes, a wyvern clutching a shield emblazoned OK. The main facade stretched 650 feet, wings extending like cathedral transepts, creating courtyards where guests would arrive by carriage. Copper gutters and downspouts, hand-hammered in Brooklyn workshops, lined the eaves, destined to patina green over decades. Inside, the scale overwhelmed. The grand entrance hall rose 3 stories to a hammer-beam ceiling of hand-carved oak imported from Sherwood Forest replicas. Twin marble staircases curved upward like frozen waterfalls, their treads polished calicatta from Italy, balustrades carved with acanthus leaves and Kahn family crests. Chandeliers descended from ceiling roses painted with allegories of finance and prosperity, Kahn as Mercury, winged sandals exchanging golden talents. Walls paneled in sycamore from the Black Forest. Floors laid in herringbone parquetry of Brazilian rosewood and English oak. The effect crushed visitors under luxury's weight. One guest later wrote, "You don't enter Oheka, it engulfs you." The ballroom occupied the castle's heart, a 5,000-square-foot cavern seating 500 beneath 3 Bohemian crystal chandeliers weighing 2 tons each. Walls covered in gold-embossed silk from lion damasked with Kahn's monogram, floor of quarter-sawn maple waxed to mirror sheen. A balcony encircled the room for the orchestra strings left, brass right, harp center overlooking the dance floor. Frescoed ceiling depicted Apollo conducting the Muses, painted by Parisian artists who summered at Oheka during execution. When full, the room hummed with 500 voices, clinking baccarat stemware, Gershwin ragtime from the balcony. Mirrors doubled the space optically, turning 200 dancers into 400 shimmering silhouettes. Kahn's library rivaled J.P. Morgan's, 30,000 volumes shelved floor to ceiling in Circassian walnut cases book-matched for swirling grain patterns. Ladder galleries accessed upper shelves, brass rails polished daily. A massive partner's desk dominated the center, its leather top inlaid with Kahn's initials in mother of pearl. Secret panels concealed safes for bond certificates. Velvet-lined drawers held jeweled cigarette cases. Fireplace mantel carved from a single Carrara block, andirons of ormolu depicting Atlas supporting the world. Windows overlooked the 13-acre lake, swans gliding past volumes of Thucydides and Gibbon. Kahn conducted million-dollar negotiations here, cigar smoke curling around contracts sealed with red wax. The dining room seated 60 at 2 burled walnut tables extended end to end. Silver services from Tiffany bore the Kahn crest, a phoenix rising from banking ledgers. China from Sèvres, crystal from Val Street Lambert, linens embroidered in Brussels. Sideboards displayed Fabergé eggs purchased at London auctions, Vermeil centerpieces by Puy Forcat. Walls hung with Gobelins tapestries depicting Alexander's conquests, ironic, given Kahn financed modern conquests. The room's acoustics carried every clink and murmur, ensuring no conversation escaped the butler's ear. Sporting facilities rivaled private resorts. The indoor swimming pool, 60 x 30 feet, featured walls of French marble mosaics depicting nereids and dolphins. Water heated to 84 degrees Fahrenheit by coal-fired boilers, filtered through sandbeds changed weekly. change rooms paneled in green tile, showers with needle sprays imported from Baden-Baden. Adjacent steam room seated 12 on teak benches, plunge pool chilled to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The bowling alley featured 4 lanes of Canadian maple, automatic pinsetters hand-built in Buffalo, scoreboards of inlaid mahogany, tennis courts surfaced with crushed brick from Roland Garros, nets of Irish linen. Stables housed 30 thoroughbreds, grooms sleeping in converted tack rooms above. Gardens consumed 10 full-time French horticulturalists. The Italian garden featured boxwood parterres, clipped into Kahn family initials, fountains copied from Villa d'Este. Japanese garden imported 200 cherry trees from Yokohama. Koi pond stocked from imperial breeders. Rose garden cultivated 28 varieties, hybridized specifically for Oheka. Kahn's triumph deep crimson, Addie's smile pale pink. Kitchen gardens spanned 10 acres, hothouses growing pineapples and out-of-season asparagus, orchards of espaliered peaches against south-facing walls. Completion came in 1919 amid Versailles peace talks. Kahn threw the inaugural gala 500 guests arriving by private train from Pennsylvania Station. Limousines lined the mile-long drive, footmen swinging lanterns. Women descended in Worth gowns and diamond tiaras, men in white tie with pearl studs. The ballroom filled with champagne towers cascading Moet Imperial, orchestra playing Rhapsody in Blue weeks before its Cotton Club premiere. Dinner spanned 6 courses: Petrosian caviar, terrine of ortolan and aspic, saddle of venison from Kahn's Scottish estate, baume glacé sculpted as Oheka Castle, fireworks exploded over the lake, Japanese lanterns floating in flotillas. Newspapers called it the party of the century. For 5 years, Oheka reigned supreme. George Gershwin premiered concerto here. Isadora Duncan danced nude in the ballroom. Caruso sang arias post-dinner. Crown Prince Hirohito visited incognito. The castle forced acceptance country club members who rejected Kahn's membership now begged invitations. Rockefeller played golf, complimenting fairways. Frick admired the wine cellar's 20,000 bottles. Vanderbilt's bowled for charity stakes. Kahn stood at the grand staircase nightly, watching rejected faces climb marble steps to praise his home. Revenge tasted sweet. Glory masked gathering costs. 126 servants required salaries, housing, uniforms, gardens, consumed fertilizers from Paris, rose stock from Lyon. Marble floors needed daily buffing by machine imported from England. Pool chemicals came via refrigerated rail from Germany. Heating 127 rooms through Long Island winters burned coal by the barge load. Annual operating expenses hit $2 million, $40 million today. Kahn paid without blinking, fortune swelling from war bonds and railroad financing. Oheka wasn't expense, it was investment in immortality. Peak came summer 1929. Wall Street boomed. Kahn's net worth touched $150 million. Oheka hosted endless weekends, polo matches against British teams, skeet shoots with European nobility, concerts by La Scala quartets. Guests departed Monday mornings, promising return. Kahn watched trains depart, satisfied. He had built more than castle, he built weapon that forced world acceptance. Rejection clubs now courted his membership. WASP society begged his presence. Otto Kahn, penniless immigrant son, made them come to him. No one saw cracks forming. No guest sipping Krug 05 noticed coal bills tripling. No polo player galloping across lawns calculated gardeners' wages. No dancer in the ballroom considered structural engineers inspecting tower foundations. Kahn ignored ledgers showing operating losses. Oheka earns intangible dividends, he told accountants. Prestige compounds eternally. He believed Castle indestructible as his fortune. The 29th of March 1934 changed everything. Otto Kahn died instantly in his Fifth Avenue library, heart seized while reviewing Russian bond proposals. Age 67, peak power. Oheka passed to Addie and children Otto Jr., Helen, Eva. None shared father's obsession. Glory years ended abruptly. Castle that conquered society awaited new tragedy. Beneath Oheka Castle's gilded surfaces and behind its marble walls operated an army of 126 servants, the human machinery that made Otto Kahn's revenge palace function. They were invisible by design, trained to materialize when bells rang and vanish when eyes turned. Their world existed in parallel corridors hidden behind paneled oak doors, narrow passages lit by bare 40-watt bulbs strung on porcelain insulators, floors of unfinished pine scarred by heavy carts, walls painted institutional green, air thick with coal dust and lye fumes. Service stairs spiraled from attic dormitories to basement kitchens, avoiding grand staircases reserved for guests. This backstage realm kept the visible luxury flawless, but at brutal human cost. The kitchen staff numbered 28, ruled by Chef Pierre from Lyon, a Michelin-trained tyrant whose sauces graced society pages. Dawn broke at 4:30 a.m. Coal ranges ignited in the basement kitchen spanning 3,000 square feet. Twin Vulcan stoves, each 8 feet long with 6 ovens and 20 burners, consumed 2 tons of anthracite daily. Heat climbed to 120 degrees Fahrenheit by 7 a.m. Cooks stripped to undershirts, faces glistening, uniforms stiff with dried sweat by noon. Breakfast for 50 guests required 200 eggs beaten for soufflés, 50 pounds of bacon rendered crisp, coffee brewed from beans roasted on site. Lunch demanded vichyssoise chilled in marble tubs, salade niçoise with line-caught tuna air-freighted from Nice, sorbets molded into swans. Dinner was warfare. Petrosian caviar portioned with mother-of-pearl spoons, foie gras terrine sliced paper-thin, saddle of venison roasted 8 hours with juniper and Madeira reduction. Scullery plunged deeper into hell. 12 maids stood at galvanized sinks, scalding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit water mixed with lye crystals that dissolved flesh. Post-banquet cleanup filled sinks with Sèvres china, painted gold with Kahn crest, baccarat goblets, etched with thistles, 500 pieces of Tiffany silver chased with Rococo scrollwork. Each plate scrubbed individually, inspected under gaslight for lipstick traces, dried with linen towels monogrammed CS, water blistered palms raw, maids soaked hands nightly in milk baths, wrapped in lambskin gloves. Chronic dermatitis scarred knuckles permanently, nails split from caustic exposure, steam inhalation destroyed lungs, bronchitis cycled seasonally, tuberculosis claimed 2 scullery girls by 1925. Replacements arrived weekly from Ellis Island, Irish girls fleeing famine for Oheka's purgatory. Laundry brigade of 18 attacked mountains of linens daily. King-size tablecloths from Belfast, damask 12 yards long, boiled 30 minutes in copper vats over coal fires, stirred by wooden paddles worn to splinters. Schwabs changed sheets daily, towels thrice daily, demanded fresh napkins per meal. Wet linens weighed 200 pounds. Maids wrung by foot-powered mangles, vertebrae crunching under torque. Sheets dried on basement lines, then ironed on marble slabs using 15-pound flat irons heated cherry red. Single tablecloth required 90 minutes perfecting every pleat crisp, every edge military straight. Maids developed hunchbacks by 30, shoulders rounded permanently from lifting, lungs scarred by coal, lye steam cocktail. Life expectancy, 42 years. Upstairs, maids 24, total, polished visible opulence. Marble corridors buffed thrice daily by onyx machines imported from England, their felt wheels spinning 1,200 revolutions per minute under 300 pounds pressure. Sycamore paneling dusted with horsetail brushes, then lemon-oiled to walnut sheen. Crystal chandeliers disassembled quarterly, each bohemian pendant wrapped in silk, washed in distilled water, vinegar, dried with deerskin chamois. Gold leaf ceilings feather-dusted weekly. Plaster cherubs inspected for flaking. Bathrooms gleamed. Limoges bidets scoured with diamond dust paste. Nickel taps polished to mirror finish. Maids crawled on knees scrubbing parquetry floors, rosewood grains following geometric patterns requiring individual buffing. Falls from library ladders killed 3 by 1,922, replacements trained same day. Footmen, 16 in livery, served invisibly. Kahn rang silver bell pull beside bed. Footman appeared instantly with hot shaving water, exactly 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Badger brush, badger hair razor, stropped 200 strokes. Shaving complete, fresh shirt starched to cardboard stiffness buttoned, pearl studs inserted, silk braces adjusted. Breakfast tray levitated silently, silver dome covering soft-boiled eggs 5 minutes, rack toast triangles, silver coffee service with pot exactly 2/3 full. Footman anticipated. Cigar humidor opened before Kahn finished meal. Financial Times folded to railroad bonds page. Slippers warmed by fireplace. Eye contact forbidden. Footmen stared at shoulder level, addressed as you never by name. Dismissal instant for drop tray, wrinkled napkin, delayed response. Gardening Corps, 10 French specialists, battled 443 acres daily. Italian parterre boxwoods clipped geometric precision with sheep shears, each hedge inspected leaf by leaf. Rose gardens 28 varieties deadheaded 5,000 blooms weekly. Hybridized stock propagated in glass houses, heated to 85 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Japanese koi pond aerated constantly. Water lilies imported from Kyoto thinned monthly. Kitchen garden rotated asparagus beds. 3-year cycle. Forced pineapples under bell jars. Espaliered peaches trained south wall competition. Long Island winters salted walkways before dawn. Summer droughts trucked water from Oyster Bay. Lead arsenate sprayed weekly against Japanese beetles. Gardeners wore gauze masks, suffered chronic poisoning. Engineering staff, 8 men, maintained mechanical heart. Coal boilers, 6 total, shoveled 100 tons monthly. Stokers emerging black-faced, lungs coal-dusted. Swimming pool filtration sand beds changed bi-weekly. 5 tons silica shoveled manually. Bowling alley pinsetters oiled daily, lanes sanded weekly to 1, 64-inch tolerance. 17 elevators inspected daily, cables greased. Safety brakes tested, dropping 1,000 pounds from penthouse. Electrical generators, DC current, hand-started by compressed air. Dynamos producing 1,100 volts for 2,000 lights. Breakdowns meant midnight repairs in shaftways. Falls killed 2 engineers by 1920. Rules dehumanized absolutely. Servants addressed family. Guests as sir, madam, forbidden first names. Eye contact meant instant dismissal if polishing silver when Kahn entered room. Maid turned face to wall, motionless as statue. Speaking unsolicited equals termination. Servants' hall meals post-family dinner. Cold scraps from silver platters, no wine, water only. Dormitories housed 4 per room, thin mattresses over storage trunks, chamber pots emptied 5 a.m. Romance forbidden. Pregnancy equals immediate dismissal, no reference. Medical care. Aspirin only. Broken bones splinted by butler. Tuberculosis cases quarantined attic. Annual operating costs hit $2 million, $40 m today. 100 tons coal, month, $10K, 126 salaries, $500K. Garden supplies Paris, Lyon, $200K. Repairs imported parts, $300K. Food, wine for 5,000 guest nights, $800K. Utilities, insurance, $200K. Kahn paid without blinking. Fortune generated $15 m annually from war bonds, railroads. Oheka wasn't expense, investment yielding social capital. Telveration is agreement. And peoples, to instug. Servants saw truth Kahn ignored. Castle consumed lives, scullery lungs dissolved, laundry backs broken. Engineers suffocated coal, gardeners poisoned sprays. Turnover, 40% yearly. Ellis Island supplied replacements. Oheka fed 500 weekly guests, while starving 126 sustaining them. Kahn saw shimmering ballroom, polished marble, perfect roses, never saw consumptive coughs echoing service corridors, blistered hands wrapping nightly rags, broken bodies carted silent funerals. Invisible machine ran flawlessly until 1934. Otto Kahn died March 29, heart attack, 5th Avenue Library, age 67, peak power. Oheka passed Addie, children. Chef Pierre quit week later, Addie couldn't pay Michelin salary. Gardeners drifted jobless. Footmen found country houses. Machines seized immediately. Castle that conquered society awaited decay. Otto Kahn's death on the 29th of March 1934 marked the beginning of Oheka Castle's long descent, though no one recognized it at the time. The funeral at Temple Emmanuel drew Wall Street titans, European bankers, Metropolitan Opera Board members, 500 mourners in black armbands filling the sanctuary. Otto's widow Addie, steel-willed at 59, received condolences with regal poise, her widow's weeds of French crepe hiding trembling hands. The children, Otto Jr., Helen, Eva, stood rigidly beside her, their eyes darting to the Fifth Avenue mansion visible through stained glass. Oheka Castle, 14 miles east, stood empty during the 7-day Shiva, its chandeliers dark, its boilers cold, its gardens untended. Servants waited in the servants' hall, uncertain if wages would arrive. The invisible machine stuttered. Addie moved into the master suite overlooking the lake, the same room where Gershwin composed, where Caruso sang. She dismissed Chef Pierre after he demanded a raise. Michelin's salaries exceeded widows' budgets. The French gardeners drifted away, boxwoods growing shaggy. Footmen found positions at smaller estates. By summer, staff dwindled from 126 to 40, marble corridors echoing with footsteps. Addie hosted smaller parties, bridge luncheons, charity teas, but the ballroom stayed dark, the pipe organ silent. Operating costs, once covered by Otto's $15 million annual income, now strained her $3 million widow's portion. Coal deliveries went unpaid. Wings closed during winter. Radiators frozen. The castle that forced social acceptance now repelled guests with drafts and dust. Wall Street's 1,929 crash lingered. Bond markets sluggish. Railroads bankrupt. Addie's investments, managed conservatively by Kuhnloeb Jr.'s, yielded 4% where Otto demanded 20%. Taxes on 443 acres climbed $150,000 annually by 1943 million today. Gardeners unpaid, roses choked with weeds, indoor pool drained green with algae, bowling alley pins warped from humidity. Addie toured corridors alone, footsteps echoing off sycamore panels, remembering Otto's laughter during Gershwin premieres. Age 75, she sold peripheral land golf course, stables to developers. The castle shrank, acre by acre. 1,952 brought humiliation. New York City Sanitation Department, desperate for worker retreats post-Korean War, leased Oheka for $50,000 annually. 500 garbage collectors arrived by chartered bus, work boots scarring parquetry floors, Union jackets slung over Chippendale chairs. They occupied Otto Kahn's Renaissance bedroom, gold leaf ceiling, Rockefeller suite, walnut paneling, music room, where Caruso sang. Bowling alley hosted beer leagues, indoor pool filled with splashing children. Grand dining room served Salisbury steak from steam trays on Fabergé sideboards. Sanitation commissioner boasted palace for the people, Union paper headlines screaming garbage kings at Gilded Castle. Addie, horrified, retreated to Fifth Avenue, castle leased through 1,984 32 years as proletarian dormitory. Workers treated Oheka like summer camp, oblivious to history. Master Suite hosted poker nights, cigar ash ground into $10,000 Aubusson rugs. Ballroom became dance hall. Disco balls hung where chandeliers once dangled. Kitchen garden scavenged for cookouts. Kahn's hybrid roses picked for bouquets, espaliered peaches shaken down. Unions installed pinball machines in library, cigarette burns scarring green baize tables. City maintenance, minimal leaky roofs, stained frescoes, frozen pipes burst marble bathrooms. By 1,970 seconds, plumbing backed up, sewage flooding service corridors. Vandals spray-painted trash palace on oriel windows. Oheka, built to humiliate wasps, now housed society's literal refuse. 1,984 lease expired. NYC abandoned Oheka, unable to afford $1 million repairs. Castle stood empty, gates chained, windows smashed by bored teenagers. Copper gutters stripped by thieves. Slate roof tiles pried loose. Rain cascaded through ballroom ceiling, frescoed muses dissolving in brown streaks. Library books moldering, leather bindings crumbling. Indoor pool cracked, green water evaporating to slime. Gardens reverted to wilderness. Italian parterres choked with sumac. Japanese koi pond drained to mud. Rose hybrids crossbred into thorny brambles. Copper thieves cut elevator cables. Shafts plunged to basements, dust clouds billowing. First fire came Halloween 1000, 985 teenagers with gasoline and grudges torching service wing. Fire department let it burn, no hydrants functional. Second blaze 1,987, stable block. Third 1,989, bowling alley Maple Lanes perfect kindling. Fourth 1,991, music room pipe organ varnish fueling inferno. Fifth 1,993, grand staircase marble treads blackened, balustrades cracked from heat. Each fire scarred deeper. Roof half collapsed, towers leaning, gargoyles toppled. Locals called it Burning Castle, teenagers daring each other inside. Oheka, indestructible fortress, reduced to charred skeleton. 1,994. Gary Melius appeared. Real estate developer, Long Island native, bought ruins for $1. 5,000,002 on Otto Kahn's construction dollar. Melius, 45, mortgaged everything, borrowed from banks, sold personal assets. $40 million poured in over 10 years. New slate roof airlifted by helicopter, limestone facade repointed block by block, Italian parterres replanted from seed. He rebuilt ballroom gold leaf, re-gilded, frescoes repainted Paris. Indoor pool retiled Carrara, bowling alley refinished. Staff rehired, French chef, English butler, Japanese gardeners. By 2004, Oheka reopened as wedding venue, $25,000 minimum, 200 guests, helicopter arrivals. Revenue hit $10 million annually. Melius millionaire again. Success peaked 2010. Oheka booked solid 2 years. Advanced celebrity weddings, Taylor Swift rehearsal dinner, movie shoots, Great Gatsby, corporate retreats. Melius expanded, castle tours, high tea, holiday events. Banks refinanced $50 million mortgage. Revenue covered payments. Life good Melius, drove Bentley, dated models, planned IPO. Castle finally profitable, Otto Kahn's revenge monetized. The 2nd of July 2014 shattered everything. 4:37 p.m. Melius parking black Cadillac Escalade outside castle entrance, preparing client meeting. Silver sedan pulled alongside, window down, silenced pistol fired 3 shots. First bullet entered skull above left eye, exited occipital bone, fragments lodging in right hemisphere. Second grazed temple. Third missed. Melius slumped, blood pooling on leather seats. Shooter sped away. Never identified. Nassau County Police investigated gangsters, land developers, Russian oligarchs. No arrests. Melius airlifted North Shore University. Emergency craniotomy removed bullet fragments. Survived, but lost 50% brain function, right side paralyzed, speech slurred, memory fragmented. Age 60, relearning walking, talking, dressing. Oheka continued weddings. Melius watched from wheelchair. Post-shooting, cracks widened. Banks nervous, demanded payments. Revenue dipped, celebrities avoided cursed castle. Maintenance lagged, roof leaks returned, HVAC failed. Melius sued insurers, developers, police. Countersuits piled. By 2020, $30 million debt. COVID emptied ballroom 2020 to 2022. Weddings canceled, revenue zero. Banks foreclosed portions, seized accounts. Melius, 71, half paralyzed, fought from hospital bed. Court filings dictated letter by letter. The 15th of July, 2025. Chapter 11 bankruptcy filed. Liabilities, $63 million. Assets, $45 million. Castle appraised $40 m. Equipment $5 m. Creditors, J.P. Morgan Chase, $25 m. Long Island National Bank, $15 m. Wedding vendors $5 m. IRS $10 m. Back taxes, Nassau County, $8 m. Property taxes. Operations continue, weddings booked through 2026, but Melius stripped control. Bankruptcy trustee installed. Castle future auction uncertain. Developers eye condos. Preservationists plead landmark status. Melius watches powerless. Not 17,000 when be biter in the more. Oheka's curse complete across 5 generations. 1. Otto Kahn. Built revenge palace. sudden death 1934. 2. Otto Kahn. Maintained glory sold humiliated 1957. 3. Sanitation workers, occupied palace forgotten history. 4. Abandonment, fires. Destroyed physically, 1984 to 1994. 5. Gary Melius. Restored financially shot, brain damaged, bankrupt, castle standing, but hollow. Weddings continue, brides pose before fire-scarred towers, oblivious to blood-stained parking lot, bankruptcy filings. Oheka consumes everyone. Kahn's heart, Addy's fortune, workers' dignity, Melius's brain. Revenge Palace immortalizes nothing, curses everything. Hermann Kahn built Oheka Castle, not for comfort, not for legacy, not even for revenge exactly. He built it to conquer rejection. The country clubs that denied him membership, the resorts that refused his family summers, the old money families who attended his dinners but whispered no Jews behind gloved hands, they represented something deeper than social exclusion. They represented the immutable truth that money buys many things, but never transforms blood. Kahn, penniless immigrant's son, turned J.P. Morgan partner, believed that if he built something grand enough, overwhelming enough, undeniable enough, he could force the world to forget his origins. $700 million in stone and marble would rewrite his identity. Pink granite towers, gold leaf ballrooms, French marble swimming pools would make Otto Kahn not just acceptable, but essential. The rejected would become the inviter. He succeeded, briefly and spectacularly. Rockefeller slept in his Renaissance bedroom. Frick praised his wine cellar. Vanderbilt's bold in his basement alley. The same society that barred his membership begged invitations to Oheka. For 5 glittering years, Kahn stood at the top of his marble grand staircase, watching wasp faces climb toward him, champagne flutes in hand, forced smiles acknowledging his triumph. He had bent the world to his will. He had made rejection kneel. Oheka was more than castle, it was weapon that shattered every no ever spoken to him. But weapons turn on wielders. Oheka destroyed Otto Kahn first. Sudden heart attack at 67, dead at his Fifth Avenue desk, surrounded by ledgers he could no longer read. The palace he built for immortality claimed its first victim before the 1930 seconds dawned. Addy inherited the curse, spending widow's fortune maintaining empty corridors until even she surrendered in 1957. The ultimate humiliation followed. New York City Sanitation Department converting billionaire palace into garbage worker dormitory. 500 men who shoveled Bronx refused slept in rooms where royalty dined, their work boots scarring parquetry floors Otto Kahn imported from Paris. The revenge castle that humbled society became society's literal trash heap. Decay accelerated. 32 years of proletarian occupation scarred deeper than vandals. Unions installed pinball machines in the library where Kahn negotiated war bonds. Disco balls replaced bohemian chandeliers. Sewage backed up through marble bathrooms. By 1984, when NYC abandoned Oheka, the castle was hollow, shell roof leaking, towers tilting, gardens wilderness. 5 deliberate fires, 1985 to 1993, consumed ballroom frescoes, warped bowling lanes, blackened grand staircase. Copper thieves stripped wiring, elevator cables snapped, sending machinery crashing to basements. Gargoyles toppled from cornices. Oheka, built to outlast pharaohs, crumbled in 15 years. Gary Melius appeared 1994 like Resurrection. $40 million rebuilt slate roofs, repointed limestone, re-gilded gold leaf. Wedding venue earned $10 million annually. Brides posing before fire-scarred towers, oblivious to history. Melius dreamed IPO, celebrity status. Oheka as Long Island Versailles. The 2nd of July 2014, bullet through skull ended that. Brain damage, permanent right side, paralyzed, speech slurred, memory fragmented. Shooter unidentified, investigation abandoned. Castle continued weddings, while Melius relearned walking. Banks called loans amid COVID cancellations. July 2025, Chapter 11 Bankruptcy. $63 million debt, control stripped, 5th generation crushed. One side is line in this. One side is line in this. Oheka's curse transcends individuals, spanning century. Asterisk Otto Kahn. Sudden death proving revenge palaces kill builders. Asterisk Adi Khan. Financial ruin forcing sale to ultimate humiliators. Asterisk. Sanitation era. Physical degradation by society's refuse. Asterisk. Abandonment. Fires. Near total destruction. Asterisk Melius. Brain damage plus bankruptcy despite profitability. Compare Otto Kahn to contemporaries who understood true immortality. John D. Rockefeller lived to 97, gave away $500 million, founded universities bearing his name. Andrew Carnegie donated 90% fortune to libraries still standing. Otto built Oheka to force acceptance, died broken, forgotten except as punchline. Rockefeller rejected nobody, built institutions serving everybody. Kahn demanded bows, received bullets. Today Oheka operates wedding venue on borrowed time. Brides pose before towers hiding fire scars, parking lot where Melius took bullet to brain. Bankruptcy trustee manages bookings through 2026, but auction looms developers plan condos, preservationists plead landmark status. Melius watches from wheelchair, half his mind destroyed by castle he saved. Revenue pays creditors, not savior. Oheka consumes everyone equally. Philosophy cuts brutally. Monuments built on wounded pride collapse fastest. Kahn believed $700 million stone could heal rejection's scar, instead amplified it across generations. Sanitation workers sleeping in gold bedrooms mocked his social conquest. 5 fires laughed at his indestructibility. Bullet, through Melius's skull, proved castle kills rescuers. Bankruptcy filings confirm revenge yields no dividends. Walk Oheka grounds today. Formal gardens restored but hollow boxwoods clipped precisely, fountains bubbling, swans gliding, lake. Inside, ballroom gleams, chandeliers sparkle, marble shines, brides whirl across parquetry floors, champagne towers cascade, orchestras play Pachelbel canon, surface perfection. Beneath, fire-blackened timbers behind frescoes, elevator shafts never rebuilt, service corridors echoing ghosts of 126 servants. Every wedding dollar pays creditors, not history. Otto Kahn wanted world remember him as conqueror. They remember trash palace, burning castle, castle that shot its owner. Revenge doesn't immortalize, it curses. Oheka proves rejection cannot be conquered, only internalized, passed down, consuming everyone until stone crumbles. Question lingers century later. What wounds drive you build? Otto built fortress against childhood slights. Fortress became prison, trapping generations. True power builds bridges, libraries, hospitals, monuments, serving others. Kahn built monument demanding service from others. Difference explains why Rockefeller's name endures on universities while Oheka survives on wedding deposits. Oheka Castle stands today. Beautiful, hollow, cursed. Wedding parties swirl through rooms where sanitation workers drank beer from baccarat glasses. Brides pose where Gary Melius bled across asphalt. Bankers circle like vultures, auction date approaching. Castle, built for revenge, exacts it endlessly. Some palaces immortalize builders. Oheka buries them. Choose wisely what you build. World remembers builders, not their wounds.